5 News reporter Alex Durham is live there now with a look at some heavy damage.
Hey, good morning, Charlie and April. Those 2 tornadoes that hit last night were really close to home. There is a different feeling in the air today. People are feeling hopeful. They're feeling motivated. This is the guy's truck, and there's actually tin or aluminum of some sort that just is jammed. All that's left now is a scene of complete devastation. Now, there are 20 buses. The family tells me that they're in complete disbelief, that this is something that happens to other people, not them. This was a completely level surface, and now it has ruts for days. Our traction was not good at all, and I can only imagine that this is just representing some of the other small roads in this area. It's known as Hog Noxious. You might have seen him on top of the dugout yelling like a crazy fan. So let's show you what's going on right now. So they're already starting to set up for First Friday Film Fest. This guy, I think he's just frozen still. Pretty early, but hey, if you're riding a bike, I think you're going to be pretty energized by the end of it at least. I think they said the ride to the school was about 2 miles. Our hometown guy, Greg Bohannon, thank you so much for talking with us. So we'll be back in just a little bit with more. People are putting their boats in right now, so it's going to get kicked off pretty soon.
Taste the Guinness in there?
Woo, feeling it, y'all. Something that's going to be tricky is figuring out what to do with more than 300 students here at the elementary school and no school.
My son does go to school over there.
She's worried about the school.
Something kids might take for granted until it's gone.
In this country, we depend on the schools, for kids, but now we gotta figure it out.
2 dads of Goodman Elementary students wondering what's going to happen next.
We're pretty close to the end of the year, so I'm not for sure what they're going to do yet. I haven't heard.
There was no time to go out or hide, There was here.
Looking at what the tornado left behind, there's an exposed classroom surrounded by the crumbled walls of what used to be their kids' school.
So, there was no time to go out or hide.
This classroom wall of fame is still hanging on. Books sit untouched on the shelf next to destruction. The people of Goodman, Missouri are just thankful it wasn't worse.
We all made it.
At 8 o'clock that morning, here they came.
War, a word with so much history, pride, and sorrow.
She sunk right where she was tied up. There were very few survivors.
And Jack Taylor Williams is one of those survivors.
2,400 men died that day.
Jack was assigned to a small naval ship serving in the Pacific, and today his memories are part of American history.
Oh yes, I remember when the first one dropped. I could see it come.
The day, December 7th. The place, Pearl Harbor.
I know that a lot of your buddies were being killed at that time, and you couldn't do anything about it.
Memories Jack wishes he didn't remember.
Pearl Harbor was not a hero's day to be alive. It was a lucky day to be alive.
Jack doesn't want to be thought of as a hero for living and not dying.
It means the only thing that it can mean, how fortunate I was to live through it.
Grateful to be alive.
Couldn't be helped.
He doesn't want to remember what happened that day.
But with sadness in your heart for those poor sailors that didn't make it.
But he will remember his brothers who weren't as lucky as him.
Every day is Memorial Day.
Wind just came up all of a sudden.
I've never heard anything like it.
A sound Alicia Condiff says, like so many others, rang out like a freight train. Alicia scooped up her kids and took cover.
We're grabbing them and running towards the front of the house.
Within seconds, the storm was over.
I mean, it was so fast. You could hear wood and stuff breaking.
Lisa Harper lives about a block apart from Condiff.
We used to have lots of limbs down.
Condiff's roof and back porch ended up in a neighbor's yard and scattered down the street.
That's completely open to the sky.
And when the sun came up after a long, stormy night, it was time to face the damage.
I'm kind of scared to go inside.
Living in a small community, the Condiff family is already seeing so much support.
The neighbors can always count on other neighbors coming to help them.
A home that's been in Condiff's family for more than 50 years now lies in pieces.
What was inside was safe, and God took care of that.
You're a ham. They are almost 3 months. Twins was a surprise, but they run in my side of the family.
Every mom dreams of the day she brings her baby home from the hospital.
They went straight to the NICU from the operating room.
But Kristen Hill never expected that day would be 3.5 weeks after her daughters were born.
Wanting so badly to have our babies home. trying to help them however we could.
Addison, Kate, and Blakely Elise were born premature and needed help doing things that usually come so natural.
Addison had a little trouble breathing at first, and they both had some blood sugar issues, so that was what kind of put them in the NICU in the first place.
Rebecca McCann is the NICU manager at Washington Regional. She's worked with premature babies for more than a decade.
To know that we have that baby's life in our hands is something that's very hard to put into words.
Parents can stay in Washington Regional's NICU all day, every day. And that's what the Hills did for about a week. But then it was time to go home.
No parent ever imagines having to leave their baby in the hospital.
In the NICU rooms, just above the bed. A parent's saving grace at a time like this.
I was a basket case. But Washington Regional has the Angel cameras.
Eyes in the sky, a small camera latched to the bed, watching over Addison and Blakely 24/7, so that mom, dad, and other family could too.
The mom can give this login to any of her family members. Then from the parent to the grandparent who might be over in England or somewhere, say, hey, did you see this last night? You know, she was doing this.
The Hills drove back and forth to the hospital every day, and when it was time to leave their daughters to head back home, the Angel Eye system made it just a little easier.
Knowing that if I woke up in the middle of the night and just wanted to look at them, I could just grab my phone and take a peek.
Every NICU room at Washington Regional has an Angel Eye system. Parents can watch their babies live and in color on their phone, tablet, or laptop, so none of those moments are missed.
The day that we finally took them home, again, it was kind of surreal, like coming to the house with them after. I mean, they were almost a month old when we got to bring them home.
Sleepyhead, don't scratch yourself.
The Hill twins, now 3 months old, weighing a hefty 8 and 9 pounds. But the memories of those tiny fingers reaching for every ounce of hope. There's no doubt Addison, Blakely, and the 15 million other premature babies around the world are our most fierce, tiniest survivors.
They are very strong fighters, they're definitely survivors. They work very, very hard just to stay alive. Premature babies are just little superheroes.
Covering news where you live, Alex Durham, 5 News.
I know it's probably hard to live with this disease, this horrible disease that you're going through.
This isn't your normal Valentine.
But I'll always love you no matter what disease you have.
But Gabby's not your normal 9-year-old either.
Sometimes he takes me out and let me ride my bike around.
Something kids might take for granted is a special moment with their dad, but Gabby cherishes every moment.
Because I have friends who they just don't understand.
12 years ago, family and friends started noticing the changes.
Well, he forgets sometimes about things.
Gabby's dad, Dennis, has Alzheimer's.
But I do know that when he does something wrong, he doesn't like it. Because he knows the Alzheimer's did it.
56 years young, and Dennis is battling the disease that's trying to steal everything.
And I love it when he has his days that he doesn't forget anything, and he feels so proud of himself.
Small moments are big victories, which is why sweet Gabby expresses her love in the most simple ways.
I would probably do anything to take it away from him.
Gabby will remember her dad's love even when he might start to forget. But someday, she hopes what's written on these Valentines comes true.
I know it's tough sometimes, but you can make it through this. I know you can.
I've always done it. I mean, I started cooking when I was 5.
Growing up, Brent Hale spent a lot of his free time in the kitchen, but he was still a regular kid.
If it was green, I usually shied away from it.
Now, as a seasoned chef with his own business, he's learned to try new things, but some things just never change.
I love a good fresh green bean. I still don't like pickles.
Cooking is a family affair. Hale's parents and grandparents were all experts in the kitchen.
My daddy always said that a burger with mayonnaise is not a burger.
And now a dad himself, Hale is teaching his son the ropes too.
And then next thing we know, we've got eggs for breakfast in bed, which is pretty sweet, you know.
Hale says the family's love of cooking was passed down by his grandpa. William Almond Hale owned Hale's Luncheonette in Fort Smith many years ago.
It was a little luncheonette, you know, one of those kind of diner setups. So, I mean, his line, very similar to what we have set up here.
Even though this kitchen is on wheels, Hale imagines his grandpa would feel right at home. And although he never met him, he keeps his grandpa's memory very close.
I feel like I kind of harness his energy from time to time.
Hale uses inspiration from his grandpa to be creative and try new things, because you don't call a business Big Sexy Food because the food isn't original.
We just kind of try to forget that we're on a food truck and produce good quality food.
Because that's what Grandpa Hale would have done too.
I think he might be in a food truck now. I'd hope to think that he'd be pretty proud of what we're doing.